My topic today is unconditional love and acceptance for ourselves. And I'll start with some definitions. Unconditional self-love is a deep acceptance of oneself, including one's strengths and weaknesses. Treating oneself with kindness, compassion, and understanding, regardless of mistakes or imperfections. Valuing your own well-being and happiness, and taking good care of your physical and mental health. Unconditional self-acceptance is seeing yourself as worthy of love and respect without conditions. Accepting yourself for who you are without judgment. I do find all of this easier said than done. I have always had very high expectations for myself. And lately, I've noticed just how often I judge myself. It's pretty unreasonable that I expect myself to be perfect at everything. One of my favorite authors, Thich Nhat Hanh, says, many of us find ourselves hard to accept. We have an inferiority complex, and we get angry with ourselves. When we cannot accept ourselves, how can we accept other people? And if we can't learn to accept each other, we can't live in harmony and happiness with each other. We need to realize that we are all streams of continuation, made up of both weaknesses and talents passed on to us by our ancestors. When we know this, we can practice acceptance wholeheartedly. I actually like this idea that we are all streams of continuation of our ancestors. It takes a little bit of the pressure off of me expecting myself to be perfect. Because I'm a continuation of very imperfect people. In my family, we have a variety of mental challenges. We have depression and anxiety and OCD and dyslexia and a lot of judgment of ourselves and others. But we also enjoy great physical health. We have artistic talent, intellectual gifts, creativity, engineering skills, some of us, etc. So how can we accept the weaknesses and the strengths? Strengths are a lot easier. The concept of self-compassion helps. It's kind of a blend of love and acceptance. According to self-compassion expert Dr. Kristen Neff, instead of mercilessly judging and criticizing yourself for various inadequacies or shortcomings, self-compassion means you are kind and understanding when confronted with your failings. With self-compassion, we treat ourselves as we would a dear friend. We realize that suffering, failure, and imperfection are a part of the shared human experience. I really like the idea of cultivating a friendliness to myself. I can tend to get frustrated with my shortcomings, but maybe instead I can hold them with a loving awareness that softens my heart to myself. I recently came across this interesting little book called The Lazy Man's Guide to Enlightenment. Sweet little book. I'm lazy. I'm looking for enlightenment. I'm like, ooh, this is perfect for me. It was written in 1972 by Thaddeus Golas. Golas lived in Haight-Ashbury in the 60s and was active in the psychedelic movement, so it's a little far out at times, but I really appreciate his succinct way of explaining some deep concepts. It's only 80 pages long, a little pocket. Here's some of what he says about love. Love as much as you can from wherever you are. This is great because I may not be perfect at loving myself in the moment. Sometimes it's hard to find that depth of love if I'm really frustrated. But I can love as much as I can from wherever I am. He also says when you love yourself, you are in truth expanding in love into other beings. I think this is true. Love is expansive. We know that there is expansion and contraction. I kind of think of everything in the universe that way. We're either contracting or expanding. So when I think a self-critical thought, if I'm really aware of what is happening, I can notice that I'm clenching muscles somewhere in my body. For me, it's usually in my jaw or neck, shoulder area. So if I notice that, I can take a deep breath, or 2 or 3, and rest with that critical thought, and even love myself for having it. That is the trick. But I can love myself for my judgmental thoughts. I can hold them lovingly and soften to them. And when I do that, I can actually feel that same muscle that tightened with a contraction loosen and soften and relax. And so this sounds counterintuitive, but it really works. My energy will expand instead of contracting. Accepting the things, even the things I don't like about myself, lessens resistance and lets me move past my perceived limitations. And maybe even loosens those tendencies overall. It's a different way to think about it. Golas talks of loving it the way it is. He says to start by loving your negative feelings. Your own boredom, dullness, love your despair. It again sounds counterintuitive, but we all have probably heard this phrase, what we resist persists. Have you heard that before? I have found that to be true. If I'm fighting against my self-judgment, if I'm pushing it away, it's pushing back with an equal or greater force. I heard this phrase once, what we resist persists, and not only that, it goes to the basement and lifts weights. It's like, it gets stronger. So in researching that expression, I came upon an opposite expression, which I hadn't heard before. To get what you want what you get. What? I mean, that is to get what you want what you get. That is non-resistance. In an article on Psychology Today, PhD Leon F. Seltzer explains what links these two almost mystifying expressions is the underlying notion that it is wise to accept what is. It doesn't mean we approve of it or we like it. We're simply not resisting what is. That is powerful. By accepting what is, you put yourself in the best possible position to change it or to achieve freedom to move past it and onto something else. I have found this to be true. This is a little anecdote. It happened years ago, but we were all geared up for a road trip to Tulsa. It's just going to be a fun day trip. And the kids were little, and I mean, it's a lot of work to get everyone in the minivan, even for a day trip. Get everyone together, we're in the car, driving along, everything's going great. But I am really irritated, and I don't know why. And so that makes me even more irritated, because I really don't have a good reason. Everything's going okay. We're driving, 2-hour drive, everything's trucking along, but I'm so irritated. And it just keeps getting bigger and bigger, and I'm stewing over here in my seat. And finally, I guess I'd heard it somewhere about accepting. And I just closed my eyes and breathed several deep breaths and said to myself, I accept that I am irritated right now. And it was like a little miracle. That irritation just flew away. And I was completely at peace. And I'm like, you're kidding me. All I had to do was accept it. I was so busy pushing it away, it was pushing back. And even if I didn't have a reason for it, it still was there. So the only way to get through it was to just accept it. Accept that it's there. And this is something we don't always think to do, because we think, well, that's unacceptable. You know, this feeling is that I shouldn't be having this feeling. I shouldn't be joyful when the world is falling apart. You know, I mean, there are so many excuses we can have to just not accept where we are. But it's amazingly effective. So this is my goal, to turn towards whatever is present. It's accepting the present moment, right? It's just resting with what is. In ancient China, the third Zen patriarch taught that true enlightenment and wholeness arise when we are without anxiety about non-perfection. That's my goal, right?
Will you repeat that?
Okay. True enlightenment and wholeness is everything, arise when we are without anxiety about non-perfection. This is from Jack Kornfield. The body is not perfect. The mind is not perfect. Our feelings and relationships will certainly not be perfect. Yet to be without anxiety about non-perfection brings wholeness and true joy. An ability to enter all of the compartments of our life, to feel every feeling, to live in our body, and to know a true freedom. Think about that. We can't really live in our body as a whole if we're not entering all the compartments, all the sorrow, all the despair, all the pain. Those are a part of us too, and accepting the whole brings freedom. How often do we hear that message? We have to accept our non-perfections. Our ancestors had them. They passed them down to us. It's okay. This life is not perfect. This life has a wholeness and a mystery that we can't always understand with a thinking mind. So we have to go to the heart. The heart wants to be whole. The heart is whole. And love is the power of the universe. I really think that's all there is. Love is the vibration of the universe. And so for me to fully receive that love and to embody all of that vibration, I have to be expanded. I can't have the contractions inside of me, the little knots of beating myself up or wishing that didn't happen or not accepting that failure that really was hard for me. Those blockages keep the vibration of love from expanding through us. I think we're all energetic beings. We all have these channels, meridians, right? Energetic pathways. And for us to be completely at ease and peace and embodying that love, we need all those highways free and flowing. And so that comes with love and acceptance. This is also Jack Kornfield. The purity that we long for is not found in perfecting the world. I'll say that again. The purity that we long for is not found in perfecting the world. I can get a little lost in trying to perfect the world sometimes, or wishing it was perfect. Oh my goodness. It's not found in perfecting the world. True purity is found in the heart that can touch all things, enfold all things, and include all things in its compassion. If I hate my self-judgment, I won't be able to move past it. That contraction makes it stickier to me. But if I accept my judgmental nature, I can rest with my judgments and the judgments of my ancestors and love the whole of my experience. This is my path to freedom. And I'll share that I really have been trying this, and it's amazing how well it works. Anytime I have a thought that is bothering me, I love myself for having it, no matter what. And I have found that by loving and accepting myself more completely, I have a different relationship with the people in my life. I find that I have more empathy and more compassion when one of my kids is having a hard time, or my husband, or anybody, a friend. I am able to be more present with them and just listen better and be there with them more completely. And I think that's because I am becoming more whole myself. I can't be a full expression of love if I'm only loving parts of myself. Then other rooms are dark and empty and, not flowing. So this is simple, yet also quite profound, I think. And not a lesson that I've heard very much. So now I thought we would just rest for a moment in meditation together. I, in doing my online research, found it was a question and answer session on YouTube with Thich Nhat Hanh. And someone asked the question, how can I love myself? And this was his answer. So I invite you to make yourself comfortable in your seat and breathe in slowly and exhale slowly. And this is from Thich Nhat Hanh. Breathe in mindfully and become aware that you have a body. Breathing in, I know that I have a body. Mind and body are established in the here and now. Your body is a wonder. Your body is a masterpiece of the cosmos. It is the seat of consciousness, the consciousness of the cosmos. In every cell of your body, you can recognize the presence of your ancestors. Not only human ancestors, but animal, vegetal, and mineral ancestors. All of your ancestors are still alive in your body, with their weaknesses and their strengths. Mother Earth is in you, not just underneath you or all around you, but in you also. Father Son is inside you. Breathing in, I know that I have a body, and I can enjoy having this body. There may be pain and tension in your body. These may have accumulated for a long time. You may not have loved your body for a long time. You may have made your body suffer for a long time. So mindful breathing allows you to be aware of that. And suddenly, you want your body to suffer less. So breathing out, you can release the tension in your body. This is an act of love directed to your body. Continuing to breathe and release tension, we can hold in love whatever is there to be loved. Breathing in and out. Holding yourself in love. All of your parts, all of your compartments, all of your resistance and all of your acceptance. Breathing in and out. softly open on your next exhale. Wiggling your fingers and toes. I will leave you with this quote from the Buddha. You can search the whole tenfold universe and not find a single being more worthy of love and compassion than the one seated here, yourself. Nice.